we are the first one who really puts the consumer blockchain idea on the market. If we want to bring blockchain into mass adoption, then we really need to create these use case for everyday users.
When we were in Brussels, we spoke about this whole thing about developers moving from chain to chain for grants, short-term goals. Why do you think they jumped from chain to chain for short-term grants?
No other chains, they are offering enough support. So for builders, why do they care, right? They just get grants and then they left, because other than grants, they don't see any other supports they can get from the chains. As long as you have a great timing, I think it's much easier to do fundraising. But if it's bear market, I think it's a good timing for us to keep building and think deep into like what kind of value you can create to the market and why you think that if VC invest in you, they can make profits from you.
Before we begin, please note that the content provided in this podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. It is not intended as financial advice. Any decision you make based on the information presented here are at your own risk. Always consult with a qualified financial advisor before making any investment decisions. Now, let's dive into today's episode.
This is a conversation with Cecilia Hsueh, co-founder of Morph, an Ethereum Layer 2 network developer focused on consumer applications. In our chat, she discusses the need for more applications in the blockchain space and the focus on the consumer vertical. An interesting part of our conversation was Morph's focus on Asian markets and what makes Morph different from other L2s who are attracting developers and founders with grant programs. I am Diksha Dutta and you are listening to Web3 Quest. I really hope you enjoy this conversation. So, we both are just coming back from ETHCC, and before I really go into knowing you more, knowing about Morph more, why don't you just give us a quick recap of what were your main takeaways from 1 week of ETHCC week?
Yeah, we spent actually like more than 1 week, I guess, probably 8-9 days there. And it was pretty hectic. Many developers, also many like infras like us. I think my strongest feeling or the key takeaway from the whole week of event is like we have too many infras and too few like applications. And the other takeaway is that I feel like we are building something which probably the mass market won't really accept that, but it's more like within a small group of crypto native people. I feel like it's like Degen building stuff for Degen, but it's difficult for us to go to mass market. Yeah, so this is my strongest feeling from the ECC. And also, I really want our next big conference to be in a more hygiene way, because people are getting sick afterwards.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. Every time the big conferences I went, people get sick very seriously afterwards.
Yeah. No, I mean, I completely resonate on that part of like, we need more applications and we're going to talk more about it. And that's why you're doing what you're doing, right? But before we talk about Morph, tell us, who is Cecilia? What's your background? How did you get into this crazy crypto scene? And
Yeah.
then we'll take it from there.
Sure. So I'm actually I'm a serial entrepreneur. I spent my past 12 years founding like 5 startups, and I've like sold services and products to more than 5 million users. And also I've worked together with the global leading private equity and also venture capitals, the traditional one, not the crypto one, to help them to conduct like very in-depth consumer researches and also support them on their investment like decisions. And I've been in crypto space for 5 years, and my previous and also my first crypto project is a blockchain Web3 project is a centralized exchange called Phoenix. So we have 500 employees, and the daily trading volume at the peak time was 5 billion. So I would say it's a pretty decent project. And last year in 2023, I founded Morph. So yeah, it's a EVM compatible layer 2 project. Yeah.
And how do you answer the question that you just said there are too many protocols and chains, and a lot of people are building infra. So how do you answer the question that why you are building an L2 in 2024? June
Sure. We built in 2023. So at that time,
Yeah.
yeah, it's actually not that congested. But I would say probably there are around like 200 layer twos on the market right now. But I would say that Morph is one of these 200, which is completely different from the others. The thing I was saying that there are too many infras is about it's about like we have too many similar infras. There are too many similar layer twos on the market, which you cannot tell the big difference. Probably like one compared to each other, it's more like minor or small technical improvements from all the others, and that's probably it. But I don't think that we are going to solve big problems by establishing so many layer twos. It's all about scaling solution. We have too many scaling solutions, but what are we going to scale? We don't have users, we don't have ecosystem applications, we don't have these builders. So why should we care so much about scaling? This is my key concern, and also it's a reason why we started Morph as a new layer two. It's because that we see most of the layer twos are just focusing in the tech part. Um, I guess at the first beginning I was inevitable because it was at the very early stage of a new like tech infra. So we were talking about which rollup should we use, which scaling solution is the best, and how can we improve, how can we optimize the technology every day. So I think that was inevitable, and also, but that also caused the results that most of the chains are very tech driven, and also they don't have like ecosystem. They're like ghost chains. So you will see that a lot of like very successful technical infra, they don't have users and they don't have ecosystem projects. But this will have this question mark here for all of us: is a very advanced tech without users a good one?
Mm.
I don't think so, because tech is built for usage, right? For users. So what we are thinking is to build up the ecosystem first. Definitely, we are very like usable, and also like our technology is also very developed, very advanced. But we don't want to only focus on that part. We want to build up the ecosystem first, and then um, talk with all these builders and see what kind of technical improvements they are still looking for, and that's what we should work on. Not just build up a pure raw technology and just give to the market and saying that, hey, I think this is what you need, but this is actually not the market need, right? Um, so that's the initial idea of why we need a new layer two, which focus more on ecosystem and also the builders and the users building.
So if you had to list the top three reasons that why Morph is unique,
Yeah.
how would you list it in terms of top three?
Um, the first thing I think why we are different or why we are unique is because we are more like we focus a lot on the distribution part. So I think technical infrastructure is something which is more like a platform for all these builders to come and to grow together with you. It's not only giving you a chain to build up to integrate with. It's more like whether in this ecosystem you can help these builders to grow together. So that's why Morph have this concept of we should be something like a venture studio model, which means to help our builders from end to end. Um, and that's also the advantage we have, because none of the other chains, I believe, they don't have all these resources or infras. So what we have is we have first of all, we have an accelerator which can help from the builders like from day one. If you need to like build up a team, you want to recruit the best people on the market, you want to register a company, you want to rent an office, it's very like startup thing, right? And to be honest, many builders, they don't know how to do it because they are like technical or product background. So this incubator can actually help you a lot at the first beginning to give you a good, like go-to market strategy or a product market fit, and help to guide you on your product design, stuff like that, and help you to recruit a team. And then we have like our own VC arm, and also in the future we are going to build a VC alliance, which contains probably around like 10 leading VCs on the market who care about consumer vertical, which is like our vertical to grow. So they will really come and help our builders to to invest in them or to give them to support them with funds. So we are going to build that crypto like VC alliance. And at the moment, we already have Foresight Ventures. So we just announced. We haven't really announced that yet, but we have already established ecosystem fund with them, with like 20 million ecosystem fund to support like long-term builders on Morph. And then we have 30, which very amazing like user base, which is like 30 million user base. So we are backed by centralized exchange. And also we have our like native wallet, and the exchange and the wallet themselves already have 30 million users. So they're like retail users. They are crypto holders. They trade, they have crypto, they put crypto into their wallet. And but they are not like digital people. They are looking for some applications which can create value to their daily life, but they cannot find right now. So we are also helping them to funnel them to our projects builders, since on the other side the builders can also not find the users, right? They don't know where the users are, they don't know how to go to market. So from day one we already had like 30 million users. And last but not least, we can help you to go listing. I know like one of the biggest headache for a lot of builders or project or founders is that when they want to go listing, they don't know what to do. They even don't know who to talk with. And even they find who to talk with, all these listing will be super high. And it's even like impossible for them to go listing there. But Morph is also going to build up like a centralized exchange alliance. Uh, I won't guarantee it's like Binance or OKX or Coinbase, because anyway, they're like, like tier one exchanges. They're not going to align with each other. But like tier two exchanges, I would say that Morph has this resources and ability to align them together so that with the like projects within our ecosystem will have better opportunity, better exposure to do listing there. And also from since like we are incubating our projects from very first beginning, so we can like have very good communication with the centralized exchanges to see like how can we really like help them through the whole journey and to help them to finally get listed on these top tier exchanges. So I would say this is the first thing which is completely different and which can help Morph to stand out um, a lot from the other chains. I don't see any other chains on the market can aggregate all these resources at the moment. Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't see any. Yeah. Mm,
that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, now that I'm looking at, like the full story. When we were in Brussels, we spoke about this whole thing about developers moving from chain to chain, for grants, short-term goals, and not really sticking to one protocol like for a long time to build from idea till like fundraise. So how do you think like you solve first of all, why do you think they jumped from like chain to chain, for short-term grants? And now that when you are onboarding developers, how do you think you're going to solve this problem of retention with them? Is it like you're reaching out in a different way, or do you have some filtering process, or how does it go?
well, first of all, why they switch, right? I think the one of the first reason is, as I mentioned, that no other chains, they are offering enough support. So for builders, why do they care, right? They just get grants and then they left, because other than grants, they don't see any other supports they can get from the chains. Grants and then integrate with one chain, and that's it. So I don't see any other incentives they can get to stick to one chain. And the other thing is also because probably some of the builders, they don't want to build stuff like for long term, so most of them are just trying to taking grants, and then they think this is the best ROI they can get. If they are thinking in a long term, like building a long term application and probably earn profits in the future, then it's not something like that. They will just keep building and have a bigger team, do fundraising, go to market. But sometimes they feel like probably 50,000 K or even 100,000 K is good ROI. It's just very different mindset. But I think it's back to the first answer I give. I think it's also because there's no enough support on the market. And second of all, how do we keep the retention and how do we screen them? Well, I think we have a sophisticated screening process. Basically, we ask the builders to fill in some questions we have, standard questions we have, and we'll give you scores after you submit your answers, and then different points will fit into different buckets of our different incentive programs. So we do have a very clear standardized incentive programs. We have like 5 programs. Each program, we have different target of developers, different projects, and we will offer different resources as support and also financial support. For example, we have like bounty. The smallest one is bounty program, and then we have EIR programs. We have grants program. We have RPGF program. We have ecosystem fund. So each one is focusing on different developers, but each one is for long term. It's not for short term. Even for ecosystem fund, we build it into different trenches. So as long as the developers achieve different goals, we are different milestones, we are going to give them different amount of grants to give them long-term incentives.
So you also mentioned that Morph is focusing on the consumer side of applications. So can you give like a few examples of what specific consumer applications do you see on the Morph technology?
Yeah, so talking about the consumer vertical, I think because Morph is consumer blockchain, it's blockchain for consumers, right? So we are the first one who really puts the consumer blockchain idea on the market. The reason behind it is, first of all, we think that if we want to bring blockchain into mass adoption, then we really need to create this use case for everyday users. It's not for Morph's target audience is not the Degen people, it's not the Web3 native people. Of course, they're welcome to be on Morph, but we don't only build for them. We build for everyday users. We want to see that the value of blockchain can really adopt into people's daily life. I think if you look into Bitcoin's white paper or Ethereum white paper, they're all trying to solve the problems of the world of centralization. But almost like 20 years passed since Bitcoin's white paper, but we don't see that happening. We see the only adoption or mass adoption of blockchain is crypto. We see more and more speculation in the market. We don't see any value which we can create to normal people's life. It feels like the adoption of Web3 of blockchain is getting smaller and smaller. That's not completely not correct. When I enter this space, the thing which touched me most is Libra. I'm not sure whether you still remember it or not. It's the crypto project of Facebook, but they
Yes.
finally terminated
Mhm.
because of the regulation issue. So I was very touched by their vision to, give everyone the fair financial access, since there are so many people in the world which they don't have bank accounts, they don't have credit card account. So they want to bring the fair financial access to everyone equally on the earth. And Facebook, since they have so many users and they see the real problem, so there's part of the world which they don't have access to the traditional finance. So I think this is also at very first beginning what people were thinking that the problem blockchain can solve. But gradually you just feel it in a very different way. Right now we only care about, DeFi, GameFi, meme coin, uh, NFT. But they are all designed for speculation, right? Just for taking profits. And no one really cares about what kind of real world problems are we solving. There's not. I barely see projects which are solving these problems. And that's also the reason why I want to switch from centralized exchange to blockchain, because blockchain is broader, is wider. We can solve more problems on the chain itself, but exchange is just a trading platform. So that's why Morph is here to solve all these problems. And I think consumer vertical is exactly this kind of vertical which you can create real world use case. You can create value of blockchain to people's daily life. So, for example, the sub vertical we are looking at is, for example, social, entertainment, uh, loyalty, and also uh, yeah, and also traditional finance. The problems which traditional finance cannot solve, they're also in the financial sector. Um, and also lifestyle related. So these are the sub verticals we are looking for. With that part, I think there's huge potential, but you don't see many applications related to that on the market yet. It's also because no chain really say that, okay, we support consumer vertical, come and build with us. So Morph is the first one. And I think it's really good for us to just stand out and saying that we are consumer blockchain and we care about these consumer builders. So come to build with Morph. This is also happening at ECC. A lot of builders come to us and saying that, hey, finally we see someone who cares about the consumers, who care about the real users. We had some idea before, but we don't see any chain they will give us a lot of support on that. But I want to talk with you about the idea. This is exactly what we see.
Cool. So which one do you think, what comes to your mind, like when I ask that, what are some of the most interesting dApps right now on Morph? Do you have some examples?
Um, I think since we are still on testnet, so I can't say
Mhm.
that we have like a very comprehensive ecosystem now, because it doesn't make too much sense for them to deploy on testnet first and then go to mainnet and deploy again.
Mm.
So there's a lot of discussion of partnership going on. There's one protocol called Sun Protocol. Their founder's background is like leading Web2 music streaming companies called KKBox.
Right.
They are pretty big in Asia market. They are even, I think they are even earlier than Spotify as a music streaming company. So they're pretty dominant in Asia market. So they always want to solve this problem. So they got like sued several times because of the music IP problem, but they never get really that kind of lawsuit never get them into final troubles, because these people who sue them can also not prove that these music IP belongs to them, because there's nothing to prove that in the traditional music markets. So they want to solve these problems with on-chain solutions with Web3, and this is exactly what they're building. They have deployed some like not the full version of that protocol yet, but some like mini protocol to test on our testnet. And we are helping them to get all these resources in Web3 since they are like a more Web2 driven company. And also, we are talking to one of the biggest retail group in Hong Kong. So basically, they have everything in that retail group. They have department store, they have cinema, they have restaurants, they have fashion brands, whatever. So it's all like about consumer facing business, and we are going to help them with their on-chain points system. Like it's like a loyalty program, which means that all these customers who go to that any store in that group can collect all these points on chain in their loyalty system, so that you can have a lot of different ideas in the future. The NFT, the loyalty program, whatever you can do in the future. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that makes like so much sense because there are already so many existing businesses that can use crypto. And we are like focusing more and more on making like Web3 native businesses. So yeah, I think that narrative sort of really makes a lot of sense. You also spoke a bit about, Morph's focus on the Asian market. And you also gave like two examples out of Asia. And I just want you to double click a bit on your focus in Asia. Like, is it the market that you are going to only focus on, or is it like the first wave of expansion that you're looking at Asia? Also, maybe you could dig a bit deeper into the potential of expansion of any chain into like the Asian market, and then just like want a little bit of your vision on that.
Yeah, I would say Asia is definitely our focus market, but it's not the only one. The reason I think we are more like since a lot of chains they're already focusing in North America market, we don't want to have like direct competition with them since we are also new. We are like late joiner. Um, but I think the more important reason is that when we look into the world, we see that there's huge potential outside of North America. We know that North America developer community is one of the biggest, and also they're the most active ones. They have very, very innovative developers, but they're not the only market we should focus on. There's still like so many high quality developers outside of US. It's kind of like, for example, Base or Arbitrum or Optimism. They're like very US centric, but Morph is like more focused on the rest of the world. So any market outside of US or North America, which includes like Asia Pacific, Europe, and also global South area, for example, Africa and Latin. The reason why is that we see, for example, in these areas, there are huge potential of growth of developers. Probably like years ago, these developers are still like trying to be the just like copycat of the US technology. They don't care too much about innovation, but gradually you will see that more and more innovation, more and more innovative programs coming exactly from these markets. So, but they don't have resources, they don't have support enough from chain ecosystem because most of the chains are US centric. But Morpheus here, I think we are more focusing on making the pie bigger. We don't want to focus on the same pie and compete with the same group of people. There's a huge pie outside, and we should bring these people also into on the market and helping them to grow together. And the other thing is about the user side. I was running exchange, and we are incubated backed by exchanges. We know exactly where all these daily transaction happens. Most of, I would say, more than half or even higher volume of transaction actually happens in Asia Pacific area and also Europe, because you have huge amount of users there, and they know crypto, they love crypto, they like to trade. Um, they are very active retail users. So as I mentioned, like these 30 million users we have, they are the real retail users. So they trade crypto, they store their crypto in their wallet, but beside that, they're actively looking for other applications which create value to their life, but they cannot find at the moment. And that's why we want to connect these users with valuable applications, with talented developers together. So Morph is leveraging the chain as a technology bridge to bridge these two group of people together.
So, yeah, that makes sense. So, which areas, which countries do you think are the strongest in Asia in terms of developer focus for Morph?
Well, I definitely think China, India are pretty strong with developers. I was just reading a tweet today, a long thread today, about the emerging market of Chinese developers recently. Nowadays, they are different. Um, they so it mentioned that actually the quality of these developers are almost the same or pretty similar with the US ones at currently, because since like the past 20 years of China and India, they really pay a lot of attention into these developer education. So a lot of students, for example, when they go to university, they choose, to study for computer science or uh, software development, whatever, right? And after these 20, 30 years education, a lot of people, a lot of developers grow to be very mature, and they are pretty close to these uh, like leading edge of technology on the market. So you can't really see big difference between Chinese and Indian developers with the US ones, but their advantage is that the cost advantage. They're much cheaper than the US ones. So definitely it's a time for them to go globally, to go outside of India and China to see whether there's a bigger market outside. The thing is that there's still some barrier, but I think one day it will not. For example, the language barrier, it's always very difficult for them to communicate to the world or to present themselves globally, right? And also the mindset, they need to be more open-minded to what's going on, what's happening globally. So, but I think the other thing is that you need such a uh, ecosystem to help them, tech infra to help them to go to the world, to go broadly outside of their own countries. So I think Morph will be a great support here.
Yeah, that's what it exactly was what I was going to say, because that's where you come into the picture. And also another thing with, I think, developer communities in probably countries like India and China is that I mean, I organize a lot of hackathons, so I know, like, personally, I feel like a grant of, say, 5K is enough, like a lot for a developer from India to, work on their startup for the next few months. But probably someone who's in Silicon Valley, like 5 grand is like not enough to sustain their project like for a longer period of time. So those kind of factors also really help. Want to go back, to your your life a little. So you have a co-founder, Asim. How did you meet him? And also just trying to understand the dynamics, that what are the things you take care of in more, how does your day look like? And what is like your co-founder? How do you really divide responsibilities? Um, yeah, share a bit on that.
Yeah, me and Azim, we know each other. We met because of some investors. So uh, I have this idea of building up a chain, and he has great ideas about ecosystem. So that's why that investor just brought us together, and then we had a lot of like common understanding of what we want to do, and we are aiming the same vision. So that's why we had this idea to co-found Morph. I think me and Azim, we are we are very different. Like he's a guy, I'm a girl. He's based in US, he's based in New York. So he's like very Western facing, and I'm based in Asia. So I'm very like Asian facing, and he's like very developer focused because of his background from Gitcoin. He was the head of impact of Gitcoin. He basically know everyone in the Ethereum like ecosystem. He's well connected and very very resourceful with the like the media. And I'm more like end user focused. I know how to deal with end users, the community, and where to find these users. Not only because of my centralized exchange background, but also like even before that, I was doing my own market research firm. I was also in management consulting before at the very early stage of my career path. So I work with these Fortune 500 companies, C-level people to help them solve all these business problems. And most of them are facing end users like their 2C business. And then I have my own market research firm. I do a lot of consumer researches. I understand the market, talk to the consumers, and know exactly how to communicate with them. And then I even have my own sportswear brand. So it's a more like it's a consumer
Oh,
goods
nice.
brand. Yeah, it's just designed for
Okay.
girls. So yeah, I love it.
What is it called?
And it's called Pika Athletic, but I stopped it before crypto.
Okay. I was saying like if it was still selling, you could do a shout out and we could use it. But it's
Yes.
closed, you
I
said.
Yeah, I think I was still probably after, I don't know, after several years, I will still do something like my lifestyle
Mhm.
related brand. Yeah. So that's why I focus more on the consumer side. Uh, and yeah, I guess it's a very, very good matching. And for him, it's easy for him to go to the Western market because people they trust the people who speak the same language, who's showing to be native there. And for me, it's very easy for me to go to Asian market and facing the Asian audience. I speak Mandarin. I can talk uh, in their language, and also I'm a like Asian face, so they trust me more. Yeah, so that's why I think we are probably the most different founders, but like co-leading a company on the market together. Yeah.
And it's so cool that you met through investors. So yeah, that's really great. So then this question is for you probably. So you're already in a very competitive space, but of course there are USPs and you have now I think it's an exciting time because you have to go through this phase of like visibility, expansion, make a name, like make a bigger name, probably reach out to yeah, basically you have to do a lot of outreach strategies. So I think probably that comes under you. So what are your plans, in terms of making Morph as a very important L2 to be recognized in the developer communities? Like, what are the areas you're focusing at?
I think in terms of um, expanding, or for us, definitely at this stage, exposure, the brand awareness is very, very important. Um, but I feel like gradually, like in ECC, we saw more and more people know about us. Um, we are trying to, push very hard on our PR side and our own social media side. I think social media is definitely like Twitter is probably one of the most important marketing tool we can leverage, right? If you go to our Twitter now, you'll see we probably have 100,000 exactly like followers. And one thing which I'm very proud of is that that 100,000 followers are completely like pure organic followers growth. I asked our team
Organic.
to not do
Mhm.
any like mm, like fake followers or like buying these fake follower stuff to show that we see it seems that we are a big or legit project, because I want to know like where we exactly are. I think the number of followers show exactly where the Web3 project is at the moment. So by seeing these 100,000 followers and we have huge engagement rate, um, I feel super proud of it. And also our community. If you look into our community, we have more than 200,000 Discord followers also. it's super, super active. So they send, I forgot the exact number of how many messages they sent, but pretty impressive because we also secretly get into other chains community and see how it's going. But I would say that's really not active compared to ours. The kind of culture we are trying to build at Morph is this kind of very welcoming, very friendly, very supporting culture. It's not Dijon culture at all. We definitely see a lot of like Degen trends on the market, but if we are facing to the consumers, we need to be very down to earth. We need to support everyone. So that's why you see we have this koala as our mascot because koala is friendly, is nice, is cute, and also it
Yeah,
represents
I love it.
consumers because it's very lazy. We understand that consumers are lazy. That's why we want everything built on Morph is pretty UX friendly, user friendly. So it shouldn't have very high entry barrier of onboarding users. They shouldn't have difficulties to understand what is, for example, what is DeFi farming? How can I connect with my wallets? All these stuff, right? It should be as easy as Web2 applications to use. So yeah, this is also the other concept of what is consumer blockchain means. It means it should face to the mass market, which means that all these applications on Morph shouldn't let the mass market feel like there's on-chain technology behind. They shouldn't feel the technology behind. They just need to know this kind of applications can create more value than Web2 applications. Uh, yeah, so back to the culture we are trying to build. It's also pretty different from the other chains, and we believe this kind of positive vibe we create can really make these people to stay. So more community is more like a family. Today, I saw some community member post something about I'm going to win. Yeah, so it's very like positive. I really love it. It's kind of it's kind of some expression of our community. A lot of community members, even they have like some personal issues, personal troubles, they will come into the community group and talk with us, talk to our community manager, share their stories, and they basically play all these Uno or poker or whatever games online all the time, 24 hours a day. So I really love it. Yeah. So
Yeah.
we are having this strategy of more organic way of marketing. We don't want to create kind of like fake buzz on the market. We know, for example, there was some uh, several other chains who are also new to market, and people are playing this TVL games. Uh, definitely creates some kind of trends in a short term, but in the end, we saw that a lot of TVLs are like institutional custodian volume, which will, and also like people who stake their money for that TVL rewards will just leave after all these staking locking period. So it's not for long term. So what Morph want to build is something more organic, more long term thing.
That's very refreshing, Cecilia. Yeah, great to hear. Okay, so what is your plan for next 6 months, 8 months? What can we look forward to? When do you go to mainnet? The airdrop is happening. Give us like some future roadmap.
So for for us, the next few months, the most important thing is managed launch, which we expect happen in 2 months, and then we are expecting our token launch also in Q4. But it also depends on the market. If it's like very bear market, will probably also adjust the timing, and also, meanwhile, as I mentioned, that very exciting thing about us is to building up all these alliance for our builders. The on one side is the BC Alliance to give them fundings, to give them better like startup financial support, and on the other side, it's the centralized exchange alliance, which give them the end of the access of their assets. So these two parts will be very strong support to our ecosystem, and will attract a lot of builders on Morph instead of the others. So these are the things which I'm pretty excited about in the next few months.
And I'm going to like go back to a question about like the ecosystem fund. So, what is the ticket size of this for each startup? Like, how much can they raise if they actually end up going through the whole cycle of coming, building a dApp, catching all the milestones, and then if they want to really raise capital from this fund?
Well, I think it's really case by case. We
Mhm.
for for the fund, I mean, it's still very different from the grants. It's more like very very long term thing because we are going to take part of the share properly from the project. So it's much bigger investment for us. But it's really case by case. It also depends on which stage this project is and what is the background of the funding team, what is the product market fit, what is their go to market strategy, stuff like that. And also depends on the valuation of the project. So yeah, I would say it's case by case.
Too soon to say, also, probably after mainnet, we'll have more clarity on that. Okay, I have one last question, then we go to rapid fire. That's about your fundraise. So that was really cool that you raised capital in this market.
Yes.
Um, can you tell us a bit about how was that experience? Like in terms of, how were VCs looking at, like basically how easy or difficult was it to raise capital in this market for anybody who wants to launch a chain and raise capital right now?
I well, we first of all we raised 20 million seed round this time, so
Yeah.
it's really good. I think it's probably one of the biggest seed round during the past few years of Web3. Until like
Mhm.
recently, we have a 85 million seed round, which is huge. So we cannot compete with that. But I think 20 million is already a very, very decent number. But I really, I do think that it really matters of timing, whether it's easy or difficult. For example, when we start to raise, it was the end of last year. Everybody just all these top leading VCs they went to vacation. They were not there. They don't. They just say, "Okay, give me your deck, and I
Yeah.
will take a look back after, for example, like 1.5 months or 2 months after my break."
Mhm.
So it was very bad timing, and also at that time it was like still bear market. But after that, I believe it was in January when everybody came back and the market started to getting a little bit better, warmer. It's much much easier. So I think timing really really matters. So if you are going to raise, check whether it's their breaking time, if they're going to take a summer break or whatever. Is it the time for them to have the next fund, whether they still need to spend the rest of their fund, they whether they still need to spend the rest of the fund for this year, so that they're eagerly looking for projects to invest, and also whether it's the bear market or the bull market at the moment. So timing really matters. As long as you have a great timing, I think it's much easier to do fundraising, and because BCs, they're also pretty eager in a good market. They don't want, they are formal, right? They don't want to miss out good opportunities. But if it's bear market, I think definitely for builders, it's timing. It's a good timing for us to keep building and think deep into like why are you different? Why, what kind of value you can create to the market, and why you think that if VC invest in you, they can make profits from you. You need to make all these narrative, these storytelling very clear to them, so that it's just like selling your product, right? You are going to tell them that, okay, give me your money now, and I will give you 10 times, 100 times back as a profits. So make your storytelling very clear and make your team strong enough, and then go to pitch them if it's a very bad market.
Yeah. Yeah, those are great tips. Okay, I think we have only 3 minutes, but I really want to ask you some rapid fire questions, just like for fun, to get to know you better, how you plan your day, basically. So, the first one is like, what is that one part of your daily schedule or routine that you can't skip?
Gardening and cooking.
Oh, that's lovely. That's lovely.
Yeah,
Okay, what's the best advice you have received as a founder that you would like to pass on?
I think for me, because I'm a like a female founder, so I think uh, I think there are some suggestions about female founder is that we need to be more confident about who we are and what we can achieve. We are actually much better than what we think we are.
Wow, that's beautiful. Yeah, the imposter like syndrome, basically. Yeah. Also, like I think sometimes what I don't know what's the right word for it. We downgrade ourselves also, while pitching ourselves. I don't know if this is right or not, but I want to share this, like these kind of things, narratives that sometimes, we tell ourselves.
Yeah, I just want to add on, like women always look down on themselves. They always want to make sure, like 100% sure about what they're doing is correct. Then they will go to the market and sell it. So if a woman coming to you and saying that, oh, I think this is good, then it's really good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think so. Okay, and then what's the worst advice that you have received?
The worst advice. Mm, I haven't really thought about what's the worst advice, but I've also heard about because, well, I've been a founder for more than 10 years and I've heard a lot of things about, well, you are young and you are a girl, you should just do something easy and simple. And this is too hard for you to create your own business. And it's anyway a very difficult vertical, so you shouldn't do that. I think it's just bullshit to me. I think it's not
Mhm.
advice. I wouldn't say it's advice.
Yeah,
It's just some
comments.
manipulations. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, just some unnecessary comments. Okay, what is the one quality that you look for when you're hiring your team? Like probably you say like this is important, like to be a part of the team I'm hiring, like this trait. What is it?
I would say it's entrepreneurship because we are still startups. Everybody they're multitasking, so I'm not going to have a team who I have to micromanage them all the day and see like what they're doing because anyway we're like remotely working. So I need to trust all the team members. And I need to see that they have very strong entrepreneurship on themselves so that they treat the company as the company of themselves. So any problems they see, they are going to try to solve all these problems by themselves without, any pushing from the management side.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. So it's always good to have entrepreneurial skills. Okay. Um, yeah, I have one more. I can't I can't find it. Yeah, this one. Would you say that you have work-life balance as a Web3 founder?
I think so. Sometimes I don't. For example, during the ECC, I'm so
Okay.
focused on all these events. But normally, if I'm not traveling, I think work and life can be pretty flexible because we can just control the time by ourselves according to like who are you going to work with, whether it's US team or Asia team or Europe team. So I will be more flexible on that part. I don't need to go to office. That will save me a lot of time. Um, yeah, I think so. Yeah, I love the working Web3. I think it gives me a lot of freedom.
And flexibility. Yeah, that's also a good perspective. Okay, so if in one word you have to describe the future and the vision of Morph, how would you describe it? You can think.
One word or one sentence?
Okay, you want one sentence, I can give that to you. But yeah, one word. Anything, one word or one sentence.
Yeah, I think the long-term vision of Morph is still to, solve the real world problems with on-chain solutions. So this is what we want to build and solve for long term.
Okay. Sounds great. Okay, and the last one, promise. If you had to go on dinner with one celebrity, doesn't need to be crypto, who would you choose and why? And what would you ask them?
What celebrity? Oh, I have
Yes.
one idol in my whole life, which is like Michael Schumacher, the Formula One driver. But
Mm,
very sadly, he's like not
beautiful.
like yet. But if I have a chance, I definitely would choose him to go have a dinner with him, and because he's very, very empowering people. He's very encouraging people. I grew up with watching all his races, and that makes me know that even you come from a very um, normal background, and with your talents and with your efforts, you can create all these magics. Yeah.
That also speaks a lot about you. So you really like self-made people, that means.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
cool. Thank you, Cecilia. Despite the technical challenges, we made this happen. And it was so much fun talking to you and knowing you better, meeting you also at ECC. And thanks to everybody for listening. And Steve, who edits our podcast, he does a great job. Shout out to him. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Diksha.
And I wish you a great recovery from ECC. Cool.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for listening.